Everyone knows how drag racing works. It's a pretty simple concept. First car to pass the finish line wins. This was probably the first form of racing since cars existed. We don't normally go to drag races because we chalk it up as being boring to go in a straight line. But we had the opportunity to go to one of the largest drag races in America, and we saw some quite amazing things.
Current record holder 398 with a 3 of 197 streaks to a victory.
This particular race had some of the fastest drag radial cars in the world. Literally the world's fastest LS, the world's fastest small block, the world's fastest quarter mile, and the world's fastest mile per hour. These cars are making close to 5,000 wheel horsepower, hitting over 200 miles an hour in 1/8 of a mile. But I thought quarter mile races were the big leagues. Turns out these cars would go too fast for their tires if they had so much room as a quarter mile.
I mean, I'm going to say by the fuel numbers and the way it runs, we probably make 45 to 5,000 horsepower with the thing. So I know it's hard to believe, but I mean, that's legit. To run how the car runs, it's got to make that kind of power. Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, if we were going to run this quarter mile and change some gearing around, I mean, this thing would probably go over 270 mile an hour in a quarter, and it's a 78 Malibu. It has no business doing that. You know, the thing could probably, you know, potentially run, you know, 560s in the quarter if we were to run it out. But, you know, it's just, these things are a handful even in the 8th mile, so I don't have any desire for that. So probably would have 20 years ago, but not now.
So these cars are actually too powerful for standard dynos. I talked with a few other drivers and they said the tires would just spin right off of them. There's a special hub dyno that you can use for recording such high horsepower numbers. But most of the drivers don't even dyno the cars, because they don't care so much about the horsepower figure as much as they care about the car performing well.
As far as putting these cars on a dyno, it's not necessarily all that important to us to get the number of the horsepower. Horsepower is important. We want as much as we can get. But really, a dyno time is more for tuning purposes. It's a reference because, you know, from dyno to dyno, sometimes the settings can be manipulated, you've got tire slippage. It's not as important to us as what the elapsed time is on the time slip.
These cars are going 1/8 mile in under 4 seconds with two-wheel drive. Sure, all-wheel drive would add weight and drivetrain loss, but somehow they get their cars to hook when some two-wheel drive street cars don't even hook with 400 wheel horsepower. Track prep certainly plays a large role in this, but so does the tires that they're using.
Drag racing started out with a bias ply tire, drag race slick, wrinkle walls, and now we've evolved into radial tires, which is more what you drive on your everyday car. A slick tire or bias ply tires, it's how the plies are laid. Radials lay the plies radially across the tire. A bias ply tire is at an angle, so to give it slick and let it have some growth. A radial tire will never grow. The good thing about a bias ply is that it absorbs power, so it'll wrinkle itself up and then uncork. The bad thing about it is that it absorbs power. A lot of people don't know that that's the wrinkle you see, but you still get wrinkles the way that we make radials now with a nylon construction. You still get some of that wrinkle, but it doesn't stay wadded up. It doesn't go into like tire shake, they call it, where you start running the tire over.
The tires are only one half of the traction equation. The other half is the contact with the track. Throughout the race, the track is constantly being prepped. With each car that goes down the strip, the amount of rubber on the road changes. They have tractors that run up and down the track laying down new rubber, and then coating it literally with glue to make these cars stick to the strip.
You know, like on a hot day, you walk outside on the asphalt and the asphalt's just real greasy, you know what I mean? When it's 10 degrees outside, it's not greasy. So the track does the same thing. When it gets hot, we have to move weight to the back. When it gets cold and the track gets real good like tonight, you have to move it all up front because you don't want the car to go out and wheelie.
I was surprised to see such a large audience interested in drag racing. It turns out that grudge racing is huge here. Nearly every spectator placed bets on who would win different races. After two cars ran down the track, everyone would stand up and exchange money with each other. I suppose this gives everyone an opportunity to have some skin in the game. The drivers themselves were in it for official prize money of up to $50,000. But even the spectators were happy to pass around a few bucks after each race. Attending our first drag race was definitely eye-opening into some of the crazy amount of preparation that goes into building some of the fastest radial cars in the world. Here at Gears and Gasoline, we focus more on time attack, but I certainly wouldn't scoff at those who are into drag racing, as I respect the dedication and skill that goes into building these cars. It wasn't top fuel drag cars, but these were some of the fastest radial tire cars in the world, and that's pretty cool. What did you think about this video? Be sure to leave a comment below and let us know. Subscribe to this YouTube channel for more content like this. Also, follow us on Instagram for a sneak peek into some content that we may have coming out in the future. We release videos every Saturday morning, so we'll see you next week.